So many of you sent me this one. California wastes $450 million on a new 911 system that it is now ditching. Not amending, not fixing. They are ditching. Let's get into it. Here we go.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Throughout the state, California has about 450 emergency dispatch centers, also known as public safety answering points or PSAPs. California's overall system, what connects all these emergency services, is more than 50 years old. That's why in his first week as governor in 2019, Gavin Newsom vowed to modernize what he called the state's antiquated 911 system. Cal OES led the charge, choosing a unique regional approach with multiple vendors so an outage in one area wouldn't become an outage statewide. From 2019 to 2024, Cal OES says the state paid more than $450 million upgrading to what it calls Next Generation 911. But
Next generation. That just didn't happen. Oh, it's not working great. We got to do something else.
Cal OES paused the plan. A newly released Cal OES report sheds light on what happened. The good news, system upgrades are in place at every dispatch center statewide, it says, allowing dispatchers to better pinpoint a caller's location and receive text to 911. However, only 23 of the PSAPs have begun the migration for voice calls, and those 23 centers ran into significant operational disruptions, the report says. Cal OES found dispatchers had to handle incoming calls from both the old and new systems while transitioning over, which is a time-consuming and risky process during emergencies. It found the regional system creates interdependencies, delaying issue resolution, so Cal OES paused the rollout and is scrapping the regional plan in favor of a statewide approach. They'll seek just 2 contractors in a process starting early next year, which means more money and more time.
How long have we been paying for the next-gen system?
I believe it was in the 2019-2020 budget, and that includes the installation of the infrastructure across the 447 PSAPs.
And how long did we say then it was going to take?
The last time we were before this body, we assumed that we would be completed by the end of this year.
The new Cal OES report says it now plans to complete the transition to statewide Next Generation 911 by 2030. The report doesn't give a cost estimate, but the Sacramento Bee talked with the chief operating officer of one of the vendors paid by the state to build the now scrapped regional design, who said the change will cost taxpayers even more money, estimating hundreds of millions more. The Cal OES report says the expenditures between 2019 and fall 2025 for Next Generation 911 in California were substantial but not lost. The intent will be to build upon a large component of the infrastructure that already exists.
But it sounds like you're scrapping it and you're basically starting over. I mean, even in that puff piece, you get the notion, a lot of money has been spent here. Basically $1 million per every one of those systems, right? I mean, is it shocking? No, it's not shocking. This is not shocking at all. I mean, it's, well, who was it? Reagan, who said the scariest sentence you can hear is, "Hi, I'm here from the government and I'm here to help." Something like that. It's like, why, when a governmental entity touches everything, why is it so much of a cluster, you know what? I mean, it's wild, right? You're left with, aren't you just going to hire a contractor and get this done? Like you hire a contractor to build a house, right? You hire a contractor to get your 911 system up and running. That's really old. And we know you got to update it, but then decisions are made. And then don't you stress test this at all? New technology, don't you stress test technology like a little bit at a time? Maybe I'm way off here. Maybe this isn't something that you can't stress test until you got the whole thing up and going, and then you've only got 23 of them up and going, and it's just an absolute disaster. You're like, this isn't what we planned. Guys, we got to put a hold on this. We have concerns that this system will keep going forward. What could go wrong? California, a state that prides itself on being the epicenter of technology, Yeah. Has taught an absolute masterclass in bureaucratic incompetence. Oh, I love the New York Post. Scrapping a new 911 system that cost more than $450 million in taxpayer money. Staggering sum, which ballooned from initial estimates in 2019. Absolute shocker there. I can't believe that went more than their original estimates. Was poured into the next generation 911. How about, what are we going to call this? How about the no generation 911? Because it's not going nowhere. Project meant to modernize the state's antiquated 1970s. See, 1970s. I was born in 68. I grew up in the 70s. It's fine. Just keep using it. I mean, Nixon called the guys on the moon with a landline, and he got right through. He got right through. There was no interruption whatsoever. They were just talking. The flag was flying. All was good. All was good. Went through the Van Allen belt, and everything was fine. Radiation, no issues. Just make a phone call on a landline. It's good. It's good. 6 years later, the state's emergency services agency has thrown in the towel, declaring the initial regional design a complete failure. It sounds like, per the agencies involved, they're going to try and spin it as, well, we're going to build on top. No, you're going to absolutely not build on top, because then you've got mistakes built on mistakes, right? And that's when you go sideways, because you don't have a foundation that's solid. You got some just absolute piece of crap like this thing, the no generation. In the midst of catastrophic wildfires and constant earthquake threats, residents will have to wait until at least 2030. So it's going to take 11 years to get a new 911 system in. Is that what you're telling me? That's what's going on. As officials admit they have to essentially start over, taxpayers will have to foot the bill for hundreds of millions of dollars more. Man, folks in California. I think what we have going on here in Washington State is horrific, and it is. We got all kinds of money going places. We don't know where it's going, nor should it be going there because, criminal illegals, I don't really want to pay for them, but I'm in a sanctuary state, and so is California, and so is Oregon. So they make terrible decisions. Oh, yeah, need to save the whole world because we think we can. And we're going to have you, the taxpayers, pay for it. The core of the disaster was the state's decision to implement a regionalized 911 system, dividing California into 4 operational sectors. While the idea behind it was to prevent a single point of failure, the execution was a mess. No generation 911. Appears as a reason no other state has adopted a similar kind of system. It doesn't work. And whenever I can lead with a story about, California from the Washington or the New York Post, I'm going to do it. Because this is just one more example of how California virtue signals that it's so advanced. It's got everything dialed in. And they can't do a 911 system? We went to the moon, right? Going back to the landline Nixon call, just no interruptions. How come we can't put a 911 system in 2025, right? 2025. It should be a piece of cake. The amount of technology, where's my phone? It's somewhere over there. The amount of technology that we have in our phone is exponentially greater than the computers were back when we went to the moon. It just is and a million times faster, stronger, whatever than the computers we had back then. Literally, I've heard that stat. It's a million. The technology we have in the phone is a million times more powerful than the computers back then. Whether that's a massive exaggeration, I don't know. Even if it's only 10,000 times, right? And we can't figure out a 911. It's got to be integration of all the crap necessary. After paying nearly $500 million to 4 contracted tech companies, project ran into, I love this, significant operational disruptions. What does that mean? It just means it didn't work. Damn thing didn't work. Just a no-go. And then they stopped the rollout. Now the state is pivoting. They're pivoting. They're just pivoting standing on one foot. They're not traveling with the ball. They're pivoting to a new 911 system, promised improved location services and the ability to communicate via text message and video calls. Fiasco has drawn criticism from both sides of the aisle, as it should. This is a debacle. This is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. When we set a budget, we need to work to it. When we set a timeline, we need to work to. When does that happen in California politics when it's run by a bunch of Democrats? Same thing here in Washington State. Just a bunch of Democrats leading us down, a crazy train. It just, oh yeah, let's do this. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. What could go wrong? There we go. Newsom's 911 debacle is California's latest failed tech adoption. So we're going to throw the 911 debacle in with the long laundry list of things that California is number one in? I think so. But you know what? You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing news articles that are trying to combat, they're trying to push back on some of the hammering on Gavin Newsom from the standpoint of they are taking the issues that are, well, maybe not. Give you an example. Gavin Newsom's response to the wildfire. Now, Democrats are going to say, it was great. He was right there. Yeah, but there was no water in the reservoir, and his management of, state grounds was terrible. No water in the fire hydrants when push came to shove. The rebuilding process is terrible. It wasn't his fault that, Mayor Bass was in Ghana or wherever she was. That wasn't his fault. So I'm trying to stay away from some of those topics and basically stick with, all right, California's got highest inflation. It's got the highest levels of poverty. It's got the most expensive gas prices, most expensive housing, things that you can't argue one way or the other because it's like, well, why don't you Google that and see how that works out? See, just hit the Google machine, type it in, and it's not subjective, right? Whereas this one, this is on Newsom's watch. Clearly, he was put in office in 2019? But can you pin it all on him? It's California. Of course you can. But the laundry list is already so long of California being number one in so many categories that you don't want to be number one in, that I think you go with the absolutes first, and then you throw these on at the tail end. These are just that final nail in the coffin, right? And there's about 100 of them. Wildfire response, 911 debacle, you name it. The list, response to the pandemic. How about him eating without a mask on? Good Lord. I mean, who does that? Eating in that restaurant by himself without a mask on? Good heavens. I mean, that's terrible. That's terrible. Right? I mean, hey, let's lock down the whole state. This should be great. 6 years ago, shortly after the legislature enacted his first state budget, Governor Gavin Newsom embarked on a celebratory tour to tout the spending plan's major provisions. Newsom's last stop was in San Francisco, not a shocker, where he bragged about increasing fees on telephone service to finance an upgrade of California's 911 emergency communication system, whose deficiencies had become painfully apparent during a series of destructive and deadly wildfires. It's all interrelated, isn't it? It's all interrelated. It's just a matter of how hard you can go on just the facts and not bring anything in subjective. And I believe you can go in pretty damn hard, right? There's so many number ones of just, number one, homelessness, number one in spending on homelessness, number one in, and if it's not California, it's Oregon, and California's number two, right? One of those two. During my first week in office, I proposed making crucial updates to modernize our antiquated 911 system. Newsom said during a media event, the idea that it's 2019 and we are using analog systems, Nixon did. It was fine. Designed decades ago is astounding. And we need to make investments to make sure the technology aligns with the devices people are using in their daily lives. Yeah, cell phone technology, right? When's the last time you made a call on your landline? I have to think. I had a landline when I got booted out of my house because my ex-wife decided to divorce me, which I didn't really know about. I had a landline in my new house for like a year or something. Because, you grow up with the landline and then one day you're handed a cell phone. Hey, use this. And initially we were all, especially older folks, right? I'm honing in on 60. Us older folks, senior citizens, I just didn't want to have one cell phone. What if it doesn't work? What if this damn thing doesn't make a call and my house is on fire, right? Or what if there's an emergency and I don't really trust this big block Motorola phone? That kind of thing. So you have a landline. But now I haven't had a landline for 15, 16, 17 years, something like that, just a cell phone. So whenever you put your information in on endless things and they're like home line, home number, like, yeah, I don't have one, nor do I have one, nor do I want one, nor do I need one. You got that rotary phone on the wall. Let's go up there. I do kind of miss it though, right? I do miss that. I miss picking up the phone and not knowing who's going to be there. Yep. Hello. I love that. Love that. Then we started getting caller ID and it took the joy out of that. But, you're a kid and your parents call in and your girlfriend calls in and your parents have to answer it because you don't get to answer it. Like, Sean, it's your girlfriend again. Like, okay, thanks, Mom. Yeah. During my first week in office, the idea that it's 2019, California's antiquated analog microwave network must be upgraded to a digital network to maintain safety operations that can integrate into the 21st century technology everyone is using, Newsom said. So he was all pumped for this. I mean, it's not his fault because he didn't put it in place, but it's on his watch. It's on his watch. Fast forward to 2025, wildfires still plague the state, including massively destructive fires that swept through LA neighborhoods. Californians also remain at risk from earthquakes and floods, not to mention crime and medical crises. So you need a 911 call center, right? I mean, you just do. And California's debacle is just one more thing in a massive litany of reasons why not to elect anybody from California for national leadership, as in the presidency, right? As in the presidency. So Sacramento Bee cracked this one wide open. And I've been watching it for a while. There's been so many news stories, though. There's been, Seattle got a socialist mayor, so did New York City. Chicago was absolutely fumbling its budget. You got all kinds of, sanctuary city stories going on. You got buildings selling for pennies on the dollar in San Francisco. You got migration patterns happening, and there's a lot out there to cover. So a 911 system? Okay. All right. It's not exciting, but it's bread and butter. And you know when it's especially bread and butter? When you need to make a 911 call, right? There's that. You make a 911 call in Seattle, they'll pick up the phone, but they won't necessarily come when you need them because unless you're being stabbed at the moment, they'll get to you when they can. And if you have something you'd normally make a 911 phone call and it's a little bit not absolutely dying in the moment, could be a while. Could be a while. That's the thing that I struggle with is 911. You call 911, there should be somebody like running on their way to come, right? That's what we kind of expect. That is not how it goes. Now, in doing research for this podcast, what I found pretty entertaining was I use Perplexity. It's the AI. I use Perplexity, I use Gemini, and I use a little bit of Google AI. Just, I got various different tasks for doing different things. But I had summarized California wastes $450 million on new 911 system is now ditching And I thought, good God, how long is this going to take me to read through? And it's basically 3 short paragraphs saying, yep, they put a new one in, paid $450, and it became mired in contract disputes, missed deadlines, and performance problems with its main vendor. Didn't work. Damn thing didn't work. So they don't have to have a multi-page summary of this problem. The whole thing was it went sideways from the beginning, right? Now state officials, California Office of Emergency, are terminating the existing contracts. And this is from Perplexity AI, so it can't be wrong, right? I mean, all AI is just there. Yeah. It is shocking if you do a lot of research, and I do, using AI, because it does pull in good bits and pieces. But what I find is that it is often not from a conservative perspective. Let's just say that. You ask it a question on something pretty specific. Sometimes it'll give you the answer that you're like, that makes sense. Oftentimes you're like, so it's biased, is what I'm saying. I think. And it kind of matters between which AI you're using and which you're not. Local agencies have complained about the lack of progress, while taxpayers are left with no statewide 911 upgrade after years of effort and investment. I thought this one was interesting because the video told us, well, they did get an upgrade, but we're not really going to use it. We're going to scrap that and start. They made you kind of think that, oh, yeah, well, we got a little bit of an upgrade. I mean, just the tip, right? Just the tip of the upgrade. That's what they got. Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like we just absolutely tossed this in yesterday's garbage. Garbage man, pick this up. This is junk. We need to start over. Let's do 11 years, California, for our new 911 system. It's what we're doing. And this is just state of politics, state of, government affairs, state of management in 2025. Things should be getting better, but they're not. And I'll podcast them for you. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.